I found that nobody could remember when there was an interaction or a meeting between the media and the ministry. Nobody could remember, or even whether there had ever been one. So I was a bit perturbed by that position. The second thing I found out is that the Ministry of Health did not actually have a communication, a serious communication department. It is following these realizations that two things have happened. One is the creation of a communications department within the ministry, headed by Brogo. And I think, I don't know whether the other colleagues in your department, that we have stolen from the media. Wait a bit, who is there? And then by one, for my colleagues from the media, from the Ministry of Health, when they say give me a 10 by 1, it essentially is saying you know that story. But because we were there, just give them a line, to report that you are there. So the angle of the story, the quality of the story, the quantity of the story, as it were, depends on these editors. But I also found out that in government, nobody had heard the name Sub's Desk. Nobody knew about what role reporters played, what role the editors played. Everybody in the government believes that the reporter is all. Is the one who edits the story, is the one who decides whether it's a front page or back page or whatever. That's the thinking in government. Not to belittle the role of my colleagues, the reporters, because that's who I deal with every day. But it is just an understanding of the media. And in our interactions today, I would really beg that the editors also inform the opposite direction. You want to know the structure of the Ministry of Health, but we also want these people to understand the structure of the media, Mr. President. We want them to know that this is how a story flows. It comes from A to B to C. Then you are able to understand the way that you should represent your story. And finally, is just to understand also, when we are just speaking here, if you remember, Bernard, I think you were here at that time, we also were trying to educate our people to understand what constitutes news and what constitutes a story. Just because you believe in a story doesn't mean it is a story. And I think that to put the cap, to put an editor's cap, is important for you to appreciate what is the public, how is this going to be interpreted in the public mind. And I think it's very, very important to understand, and I could give many examples about how things, well intended, eventually become very difficult things. I mean, Churchill, you are speaking about the COVID billionaires. And one of the questions I've always asked is, and I'm glad that Kabushi is here, so you'll be able to talk, we have got a session on cancer. The relationship between devolution and ourselves, I think is a key question. And I raise that in two perspectives. One, as a senator, I was a very strong defender of devolution and ensuring that we devote as much as we can to the counties. But I think it is Article 187 or so of the Constitution, or 187, don't take me to class on this one of those articles that also proposes that a function may be assigned to one level of government or to another if it is felt that that function is performed better by the respective level of government. I'll give you two examples. One example is that Kisumu Hospital has been elevated to a level 6 hospital. Now, if you look at Schedule 4 of the Constitution, referral hospitals are supposed to be managed by the Ministry of Health. But we are confident that the Kisumu County can actually be able to manage the level 6 hospital that is currently in Kisumu. The opposite, we have got a huge hospital in Kakamega, a massive hospital that the county government has put together. And it is clear that this county hospital is big, and they don't have the infrastructure to manage that hospital, perhaps because Kisumu was always a provincial headquarters, and had a provincial, the Jaramogi Hospital, which was already there, as opposed to Kakamega, which is a much more hospital. So the understanding then is that we can devote the level 6 to Kisumu, while if we upgrade the Kakamega Hospital to level 6, we need to bring it back. In fact, they're asking us to take it over, even as a level 5, as an unfinished hospital. So this is something that we need to understand. And for us to crystallize, in order for us as a Ministry of Health to engage appropriately with the county governments, we have made certain structural and individual changes. And in the new structure that we are going to launch in the next couple of days, we will find that that issue of how to deal with the counties is appropriately addressed. But in order to do so, it is people who manage to do that. So we have got county CECs, former county CECs, who are out there in the counties currently now working for us. For instance, Dr. Mulwa was originally the CEC's national chairman, but the CEC for Makueni County. Dr. Lenai, who is not here with us, was the CEC responsible for in Laikipia, but now is in the ministry. We are holding him back in the ministry to handle intergovernmental relationships and so on and so forth.